Kirsten, the Problem Solving Teacher and Teachers Pay Teachers author. If you like my videos, please remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. It helps other teachers just like you find me on YouTube. All right, today we are going to be talking about blog organization tips to help you grow your business. So we started talking about how to start a blog, what you need to start a blog, and just like every single type of writing out there, your blog needs some organization. Every writing has a method of organization to it to help the reader be able to read it and comprehend it, and blogs are no different. So these blog organization tips will hopefully help you get the hang of blogging and help you along your journey as a blogger, because blogging has become a sought after skill that everybody wants. And so it's a skill that, you know, it's not just like put up what you want. There's like a skill and a method and a rhyme and a reason for everything bloggers do these days. So if you just want to blog for fun, that's awesome, go for it. If you want to try to add some organization to your blog in order to help it grow your business, then go for it. When I first started blogging, I started blogging in December of 2020, and I wasn't even really blogging yet. I was just learning to write again, because once you're an adult, so much of your writing is just revolves around your job and what you're doing. So I wrote emails and grades, and I modeled writing for my students, but I wasn't actually writing things that I wanted to write, and I wasn't writing long content at that point. So I started blogging simply because it was a tool that could help my Teachers Pay Teachers business grow and become more successful. Once I was a few months into my business, and I had heard people say, you know, you really need a blog if you want to grow your Teachers Pay Teachers store into a long-term business, then you should have a blog to help support that. And so I decided that I would just go for it. And I started with just my thoughts and opinions on teaching and things in the teaching world. And I shared a few tips and tricks, but it was really just kind of all over the place. But that's a great place to start. If blogging and writing are like kind of like far off and new to you, then just like that kind of thing, just starting to write again is perfect, because you get to learn to write again. And it's kind of a funny thing to tell teachers to learn to write again, but like the last writing I had done was in grad school. So to learn to write about things that I wanted to write about in detail and all of that, it's very different. But those first blog posts didn't support my business or, you know, help grow my business. They're still up there right now. I haven't touched them yet. I don't know if I will in the future, but you can go look at them and see what they're like. Keep in mind that as you start blogging, that blogging is a long game. It takes practice. It takes time to learn it. There are people who do it instantly, and all the power to them, but I think for the majority of people, it takes some time and some practice to learn how to do it and apply the new skill successfully. It's just like any other new skill you're learning, where it takes some time and practice. So it won't be great in the beginning, and that's okay. If your expectations are that you can grow your blog over time rather than be an instant sensation, then you're probably going to be more successful, because you're not expecting overnight success. So take your time and learn to write again. All right, what is blogging organization? Blogging organization is when you set up your blog so that the reader can read it easily, right? I already said every piece of writing has some sort of organization. When we write a story, there is a beginning, there's a middle, there is an end. There are chapters, there are paragraphs, there are stanzas. Writers use all of these tools to organize their work. We use quotes for dialogue, we use punctuation to end sentences. Blogger is a newer form of writing, so it's still shifting and changing, so that bloggers can share their message and make sure that it's seen on the internet. And how you organize your blog is going to affect your blog success. All right, so I have some blogging organization tips and tricks. I have 5 of them for you. The first one, I feel like I've been talking about this one a lot lately. Use SEO in your blog organization. So this is probably the most important tip. Use search engine optimization. Engine optimization is when you find out the words that other people are typing into Google, whatever people are typing into the search bar, whatever words they type in, you want to use those words on your blog. And then Google kind of says, oh, look, there's a match, and puts them together. However, there's way more to it, but if you are using the words that people type into Google in your blog posts, it's going to help your blog be more successful. It's going to help people find you. If you're using words that nobody uses, like I used to try to come up with like cutesy titles, or just like, what would I feel like typing? I don't know, that doesn't sound good, let me rearrange it. And I try to think of like these cutesy things for my titles. But if nobody's searching for that, nobody's gonna find those blog posts. So again, you can go look at those posts if you're like, what titles did she use? So you need to use search engine optimization, SEO, not just at the beginning, not just in the title, but throughout your blog post. Like you need to use it in every single part of your blog. If you want to know how to find those words that people are typing in, they're called keywords. I recommend the website Ubersuggest, and you will learn a lot from typing in some words into Ubersuggest. All right, next, you need to title your blog post. The titles of your blog posts there are basically 8 ways you can title your blog post that are going to entice a person searching on the internet to become one of your readers. Your title can help you rank on Google. It can entice readers to click and read your article. It's the gateway to finding new customers and new readers. Okay, so 8 types. These are not in a particular order. They're just the 8 types that I thought were the most useful. All right, list. Everybody loves a list. Lists are short, they're easy to read. This article is kind of formatted in a list. I'm giving you 5 tips. A list is just a great way to organize your blog. It's a list of tips. How-to blogs explain how the reader can do something. Anything from blogging to cooking to repairing appliances, anything that you want to explain how to do. And in the teacher world, probably like how to teach something specific that you're good at. Questions. You can certainly ask a question in your blog title. How often have you typed a question into Google? They are a popular way to title blogs. Usually you want to make them a little fancier than that, but questions, people want answers to their questions. That's often why we go to the internet. There's also answering specific questions. You might specifically do a where, a what, or a why. It's just a more specific question. People tend to put these in their own category. When you answer a where, what, or why, it does not have to be in a question format. So you don't have to necessarily be like, what is the? You also want to make sure that you are not using a yes or no question. Promising a way to fix mistakes and errors. Oftentimes people want to know, like, they've messed up something, usually on their computer, and they want to know how to fix it. So they'll type that into Google of how to fix something or other. You can also go into greater detail about like the biggest mistakes you've made in your classroom and like what you would do instead. And people will be like, oh, I can avoid some big mistakes. So the different ways of fixing things can be really popular. A guide or a checklist. Guides and checklists tend to be longer blog posts, not necessarily, but they can be longer blog posts. And it's just full of tips and tricks of the main ideas. It's a checklist of things to do, of like how to get it done. So guides and checklists, super popular. Teaching the reader how to increase, boost, grow. So I'm trying to teach you guys through my regular YouTube episodes how to grow your TPT business. But any type of way that you're going to help someone do more of what they want is a popular blog post. Versus anytime that you are comparing a couple of things, It's a versus post. People often have to make a decision between, you know, maybe it's a couple of products, and they might look up online which of the two are better. So people like to have other opinions and help with those kinds of decisions. If you need a website that can help you come up with better blog titles, I recommend CoSchedule. It's what I use for all of my titles, and it's made them so much better. So check it out. All right, use headings in your blog organization. So think about all of the nonfiction text and the textbooks that you read. All of them have the title, they have the chapter heading, they have the section headings, and they have all of the subheadings in between there. And imagine your textbooks without those. It's not very fun to read. That is just a big, huge chunk of text. So having the headings, all of those little headings, you want that in your blog posts also. It does two things. It breaks up the writing. That's the first thing. It breaks up the writing. Like I said, it would be a lot of text, just a big block of text, maybe some paragraphs, but that's just like a lot. When I was a kid, I would look at how many pages I had in the section or the chapter, and I would like be counting down, and I'd be like, oh, this is only like half a page because there's like this big graphic here, so that's like less reading. Now imagine like the textbook without any of that and like how big and intimidating it would seem. People feel the same way when they read online. Most of the time they're not even reading, they're just skimming through, they're scanning for the information they want. They don't want a huge chunk of text. They're like, whew, this is too much, it's too long, I'm gonna go find something that's shorter. So it really helps break up all of the writing and make it less overwhelming. Second, it makes information easy to find. When people look at the headings, they can be like, oh, I was just wanting information just on the headings of my blog, and here it is. It's all right here. I found it super easy because there was a heading to tell me where it was. So when you use headings in your blog posts, if people are just interested in one reading center that you're writing about, then they can look at that one reading center and be like, oh good, I found the information I needed really easily. That was a question I had. Now I can go do it with my students. And it just helps them find the information easily. Because again, people are not usually reading the whole article, they're usually scanning for just the information they want. If your reader can't find the information they want, then they are probably going to hit the back button and they're going to go read someone else's post. All right. My fourth tip is that you should use short paragraphs in blog organization. I already mentioned that readers feel overwhelmed when they're reading a lot of text. Unlike academic papers, you do not want to have long paragraphs on your blog. Online readers want short, quick, easy information. And they don't even want to read the information, they just want to scan it, so they want it short and quick. If you have lots of text, they're not going to read it, so you're supposed to use short, easy blocks of short paragraphs, because people can skip through it easily and it's not so scary. You're like, oh, that's super short, I can read that, that will only take 2 seconds. And then also think about how the length of your paragraphs translates to mobile devices. So many people read on their phone that what looks like not too long of a paragraph on your tablet or your computer, on a phone, it looks really long. So people are like, yep, I'm skipping that. So when you use short paragraphs, it just makes your blog more readable. My final tip in blog organization is to use graphics. Great blogs have great graphics. They just do. When you've probably seen some bad websites and bad blogs and they're like just text and it doesn't look very good. When you get to a good blog, like there's graphics, there's pictures, it looks well organized. Graphics serve 3 purposes in blogs, and these are super fast. Graphics look pretty, right? They just make the page look more inviting. Graphics break up the writer, making it easier to read. They increase the readability, especially if you have like a couple of headings and blocks of information, and then another graphic, and then more information, and then another graphic. It really breaks up the writing. Graphics can highlight the most important points or ideas within the article because you can make your graphic using quotes or data. I often do quotes in my paragraph, in my graphics, and I will read my article afterwards and I'll take some of the best quotes that I think are in there and I'll turn those into graphics that I can use on social media, other places, and right there in the blog. So if you want help creating graphics, I recommend Canva. Canva is awesome for all things graphics, and you should definitely check them out. All right, hopefully these 5 tips helped you out. You have a better idea of some of the things that you should do to organize your blog as you're getting started. And that's all there is for today. All right, have an awesome day.